Welcome, everyone, to AtariCade 5200, a division of the Atari 5200 Super Community Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Willie. We also have the man with the pen, Mighty Matt D.
Hello, everyone.
We also have Mr. Michael, I could be out on a date right now, Michelangelo.
Happy New Year, guys.
Now we have Rick, the Intellivisionator.
Hello, hello.
Awesome. So, tonight we're going to be talking about Blueprint by CBS Electronics. But first, we need to talk about the arcade game, and we know who talks about that.
That's me.
He's learning.
Well, alrighty, folks, let's get into it. Blueprint is a Bally Midway arcade game that was released in 1982. I would describe it as a maze game combined with a memory game with a little bit of a shooting game thrown in just for the heck of it. The premise is that Daisy, who is the girlfriend of our hero, is named JJ, is being chased by this guy named Ali Ogre. So it's up to JJ to rescue her, and he's decided the best way to do this is to build a contraption to shoot Ali Ogre with. It's not exactly the direct approach, but I'll give him points for originality. Controls are a joystick and a fast run button. Obviously, the stick moves JJ around. Button's going to make him move a little quicker, makes him run faster. So you have a limited amount of time to use that run fast time, though, and that's going to be shown on a meter at the bottom left corner of your screen. The maze part. Maze is just a single screen that's made to look like a neighborhood with 10 houses that are connected by streets on which JJ can run. At the bottom of the screen is a blueprint for the contraption, bomb pit, and a start button. At the top of the screen, you're going to see Ali chasing after Daisy. There's 4 flower pots line the top of the screen, and occasionally Ali will knock one over, causing it to sprout legs and bounce around the neighborhood for a bit. Contact with the flower pot is curtains for JJ, so you're going to want to watch out for those. Now, like I said, there's 10 houses in the neighborhood, but only 8 of them contain parts of the contraption. JJ's got to explore the houses, and when he gets a piece from one, piece of the contraption from one of the houses, he guys got to carry it down to the blueprint at the bottom of the screen and put it in its correct place. If JJ goes to a house that doesn't have a piece, or if he goes into a house that he's already taken a piece from, he'll pick up a bomb instead. And he has to carry that bomb over to the bomb pit before it explodes. If it explodes, obviously you're going to lose one JJ. That's where the memory part of the game comes in. It's important to remember where you've been so you don't go back in houses you've already been in and start picking up bombs. The bomb pit isn't just a place to discard unwanted bombs, though. It's also the home of Sneaky Pete, who likes to run over to your blueprint and mess up carefully placed pieces. You've got to grab him and drag him back to the bomb pit to prevent this. Or if you time it right, you can drop a bomb right on him, as you'll see him poking his little head out and his little eyes blinking. If you drop a bomb on him right then, he won't come out. Anyway, once the contraption's finished, JJ runs over and presses the start button. If you touch it, he'll climb aboard the contraption. Now you can move the contraption left and right and press a button to fire at Ali. Don't worry about hitting Daisy. There's no friendly fire. If you manage to hit Ali before he reaches Daisy, you'll get bonus points and move on to the next level. If he ever catches up to Daisy, you'll lose a JJ for that as well. But then it'll restart where you left off with all the pieces of the contraption you've already got, and the timer on that sort of resets. So from level 3 onwards, Fuzzy Muzzy will make an appearance. Fuzzy Wuzzy is this guy that's going to chase JJ around the maze. He gets faster the further in the game you get. Contact with him, lose one JJ. So also making things a little more difficult is the maze changes from 3 exits at the bottom on the first level to 2 exits on the second level, and only 1 exit from level 3 onwards. There's little intermissions like Pac-Man style that show every couple levels, and that just kind of breaks up the gameplay a little bit. But other than that, the game just gets faster and more difficult until it's game over. This was ported to the 2600 and 5200 by CBS Electronics and the Commodore 64 home computer. I think it was published by Commodore themselves. It was planned for Atari home computers and the Intellivision, but never got released for those systems. So this is one of the few games that doesn't have an Atari home computer version, even though it has a 5200 version. So kind of a unique situation there. And I've never seen the arcade game personally, but
no?
I read that it came out in 82, but I've never seen it.
It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
What I like about this arcade game It's got everything in there for everybody. If you like to ransack other people's houses, it's right there. If you have the sudden urge to drop bombs down holes, it's right there. I think it's a family of Ted Kaczynskis that live in this neighborhood or something, all these bombs in these houses. But I loved the arcade game. When it came out in 82, it came to my local arcade. This is one of the few games I was actually able to play when it was actually put on the arcade floor first. Because a lot of times I was in there helping out, and I was able to put new games out as part of my reward. Yeah, think of that. Making me work for a reward. That's nice. Anyway, I love this game. I think what I liked about it the most was the aspect of building that little contraption. I thought that was a really neat game mechanic. You have to actually build the little devices you're going to use to shoot the evil guy to save your main squeeze. I couldn't get past that. I thought that was really, really cool. How about you, Michael? Did you get to play this in the arcade?
I same boat as Matt. I've never seen this in the arcade.
Oh my gosh, we got sheltered people.
I've never seen any of the arcades I've been in. I've never seen it. And I actually looked up, did some research on it, and yeah, it doesn't look familiar to me. I do remember it from the Commodore 64. I know Commodore published it. Wasn't a game I really played, even on the 5200. So really, my first introduction to it was probably the last few weeks, just playing it for this podcast.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I never even played it for the 2600. I don't think I had it.
Well, definitely keep an eye out for it. The local arcades up there, because she should cycle it through eventually. How about you, Mr. Reynolds?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the arcade machine either. I
give up.
No, I became aware of this on the C64. It was one of the games I had, and given the way things were in the 80s, I'm guessing I pirated this thing like I did like 99% of my software. Because I didn't know any of the story. I mean, I kind of gathered, save the girl from whatever that thing is. I didn't know it was an ogre, like some kind of hunchback monster thing. I wasn't sure what was going on there. And it was clear to put together the blueprint was right there when you pull a piece out. It didn't take too much thinking to figure out what goes where, kind of a thing. But I played a ton of this on the C64, and as far as I knew, it was a C64 title. I didn't even know it was an arcade port, back when I got a hold of it. So yeah, never saw it in the arcade, but played a ton of it on the C64 and loved it.
Yeah, the only difficult part I have about playing the arcade game is every once in a while you can get like a red bomb, which has even a shorter fuse on it than the regular bombs. So if you don't have any run energy left, you're pretty much going to die.
Yeah. I did try the arcade game in MAME, and I noticed they did have the different bomb colors. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the red ones are blow any second.
Any second. Oh, pretty bad stuff. Now, before we start discussing the 5200 version, did any of you guys happen to try out the Atari Flashback Classics 3 with the 5200 games on it?
I did.
You got it for...
I actually got it for the Switch.
How is it on the Switch?
So, I got to tell you, I have the Flashback Classics Volume 1 and Volume 2 for the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I think for the Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, there's 50 games each. For the Classics on the Switch, it's all 150 games. It's just one package. It never came out with a Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Ooh.
I never really cared for the Xbox, and I guess the same for the PlayStation, most of the games were very difficult to play on there.
Yes,
especially if it was a paddle game or a trackball game.
Yeah.
I'm loving the Switch version.
Really? Does it work that well?
So a lot of the arcade games that use the trackball, you use the screen, and there's like a virtual trackball.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the paddle games. You use the touch screen, and it works pretty well. Trying to play Centipede or Missile Command with the joystick just is impossible. It just moves too fast.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about Volume 3 and the Flashbacks Classic is they do include 5200 games. Now, they're not... Unfortunately, none of the licensed games are on here, so it's just Atari games. But they did include quite a few prototypes. and some of them we covered, like Miniature Golf.
Oh, yeah. You go first.
Millipede for the 5200 is on here.
Yeah.
Asteroids, which is actually you can play 4 players on the Switch.
Oh,
which is really cool.
Wow.
Oh,
So
really?
if you have 4 con controllers for the Switch, you can play 4 players simultaneous.
Jeez.
Can you do it through internet connection?
You can play multiplayer. I'm assuming you can play live 4-player.
Oh, wow.
My issue with the multiplayer is I've never found anybody to be online.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
So I guess what you have to do is call up some buddies and tell them to all go online. It does include Micro Gammon, which is backgammon for the 200, Final Legacy, Countermeasure, Centipede, all the real sports games, including basketball, which is the prototype.
Okay, basketball I can tolerate. I like basketball on the 2600 and the Atari computer. I can handle that one.
I actually like the tennis for the 5200.
Oh my gosh, you would.
What? It has Star Raiders, the 200, Super Breakout.
Yes!
And Zari Arena, which is really cool. It's like, but that's a 2-player. You have to have 2 players for that. So that's basically like a reverse Breakout. Great game. Now, my only complaint, well, not really complaint, but so you have on the Flashback Classics for the Switch, you have 3 versions of Missile Command. You have the 2600, you have the 5200, and the arcade version.
Oh,
so more than likely, I'm going to go to the arcade version and play.
Oh, heck yeah.
Same with Asteroids, same with Centipede, and same with Millipede. But it is nice that they represented the 5200 on here. I got to give them that. I would have loved to have seen Space Dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would have played great on the Switch.
Oh, my gosh, yes. And Robotron.
But unfortunately, the only licensed games, they got the M Network games for the 2600. But that's about it. No Activision, no other licensed arcade games, no Pac-Man or anything on here.
So who else here has a Switch?
I've got one.
And I have one.
I'm the odd man. Imagine that. I'm the odd man out yet again. But this is getting me really tempted to buy a Switch, though. It sounds really cool.
They're a lot of fun, just for retro gaming in general. I gotta say, there's a ton of retro stuff and retro styled stuff available on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Unfortunately,
yeah, we need to go to Michael's house, have a party, play 4-player Asteroids.
The one thing Atari didn't do is really market this very well. It was very difficult to find out when it was being released.
Yes.
Amazon had, I don't know what they had as a date. It was later this year. If you go to the Atari site, it still says coming soon.
Yep,
I ended up getting it from Walmart online.
Really?
Yeah, they actually had it, and I had it sent to the house, but I was surprised. Even if, as I said, if you go to Atari's website right now, it still says coming soon.
Wow.
That's something.
But it is available on Nintendo Online. You can buy it as a download.
That's cool.
Did it come with anything in the case besides the game card?
No.
Like instructions?
No, nothing. Just the game card.
That's too bad. They rarely do put anything else in there these days, but it's always kind of nice when they do.
I don't think any of the Switch games I purchased had anything inside other than the cart.
Most of them don't. There's a couple. Cave Story had an actual booklet in there and a little CD. Puyo Tetris had a keychain and something else I forget, like some little doohickey of some sort. I can't remember. So they do sometimes. It's not very often.
But I think it was.
Oh, welcome everyone to the Switch by Switch podcast.
Sorry.
I think it was around. Yeah, I think it was around $40 for the Switch, and with 150 games, it's worth it.
Bad.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Awesome. Pretty cool. So now, let's move into talking about the 5200 version of Blueprint. What are your thoughts on the 5200 version, Matt?
Well, I gotta say, I know I feel like a broken record saying this all the time, but it really is just like the arcade game, especially gameplay-wise. Very few differences that I saw, like maybe the lack of the red bombs, for instance, And the shooting part of the game's a little different than the arcade. Like in the arcade, once you get in the contraption, it just auto fires, like rapid fires shots up at the top of the screen at Ollie. But in the 5200, you press the button to fire repeatedly. I think that was the only differences I really even noticed. Maybe some slightly better graphics and sound. But if you like the arcade game, you're going to like the 5200 version. It's basically the same. I was pretty impressed. And
how about you, Mr. Reynolds?
Yeah, I had not revisited Blueprint since 80 whatever. I haven't played it since back in the when I had this conversation before. I mean to say, so yeah, it was really fun pulling this thing out. I gave it a try with the analog stick. My travails of the analog stick. I wasn't able to make it work so well. But with a Master Play clone and I have a digital kind of arcadey stick, it was great. It was a lot of fun to play. It does feel, like the arcade. I mean, I didn't notice anything. I say like the arcade. I didn't play the arcade. It feels like the game I remember. That's what I mean to say. It feels like Blueprint to me. But I didn't notice anything that was like, oh, this is wonky, or oh, the cornering is weird, or I didn't notice anything that was distracting me from the gameplay. It just really felt like I was back in the game that I remembered. A lot of cool stuff in it. I don't know. Do you want to talk about gameplay stuff or a little bit later, or should I talk about that now?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I just noticed a few things that I made notes about that I really like. That music that plays in the background is kind of like this boogie woogie bass line thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. I was like, I think I know where that's going. That sounds familiar to me. And I know when you play this thing. You play it a couple rounds, and you start realizing, okay, I'm going to have to attack these houses in a pattern of some kind, right? Because you got to remember.
Yes.
You got to remember where you've been, and going. So a lot of times I'm talking out loud as I'm playing it. Okay, I've done the left side, or okay, there's nothing left on the bottom, set of houses or whatever it is. Try to keep my head straight about this, because even having played Blueprint in the past and knowing what I needed to know, there were still times when I goofed up and was entering a house too many times, and having to deal with a bomb that came out after me. And by the way, you walk into the wrong house when you run out of run time, you're pretty much dead. You're not going to get out of the maze to get there. I did hit a weird glitch in the game when I was playing. So how like when you grab a part, it kind of drags behind you, and so when you so if you're moving up and down, it kind of lags a little bit behind you as it follows you. Mm-hmm. I got killed by one of the plants, which are the bane of my existence, man. I do not like those.
Yeah,
they're flower pots.
So
little Audreys.
Yeah. So while I was dragging a part, now it just so happened that the part when I got killed was kind of below my line. I was kind of going low and then swinging up again. And it actually was a little bit below the edge of the screen when I got hit. So it stayed there, and I couldn't get it.
Oh no!
So the game is just I'm just playing. And I can't get the piece. And when you have a piece, you can't get another one, right? I mean, so you could go into all the different houses and nothing happens. There's no bomb or nothing. It's like you have the piece. So whether you're carrying the piece with you or it's loose down below in the Blueprint area. It disables the rest, if you will. So I'm stuck. I can't get the piece, and I can't do anything on the maze. I had to reset because that was just not attainable. It's like the piece had swung down below where my character could move.
Got off the play field there.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. The other thing I wanted to know was is there any control of how far the contraption shoots, or is it random? Because sometimes I thought, well, I'm hitting the button and it would send out a little ball that would go maybe halfway up the screen and kind of fall over to the side, and it wouldn't make it to where I needed to shoot. And then other times it would blast straight up there really quickly. And I thought, well, do I need to wait and let it charge up and blast longer, or if I'm rapid firing, is it all going to be short? But I couldn't find a pattern to it. It seemed random.
As far as I know, it's completely random. And that's something I didn't like about the game. You can't control that part of it. It's just, I think it's silly.
Yeah, especially when the ball goes halfway up the screen, it kind of loops over and dies.
Right.
Where's the Viagra button? What the hell's going on?
What the heck happened? Yeah, it was. It can be frustrating because you're thinking you're about done with it. I did want to say another thing about those flower pots. The way their motion works is they never bounce. They don't bounce higher than their peak, right? So they're falling their way down the screen, and they will never get higher than their last bounce, if you will, right? They're working their way down. So the trick with them, I found after playing a few rounds, is if you're lucky enough to be in the maze, if you obviously get into a house, right? I think the house protects you. If you have a piece, you get into a house, and then, but also if you can be near the top. That thing it'll it's like it's trying to get to you. It's bouncing as high as it can, but eventually it has to give up and it falls down to the bottom. But if you can get above its highest peak, then you're safe and you can kind of write it out of your mind and move on. But I did notice when one around that you're not 100% safe in the maze if you. So my thought was at first, when the pot falls and it gets out of the maze and it's down at the bottom and it's bouncing along the bottom, right, on its way off the screen, I thought, once it gets down there, I'm safe if I'm in the maze. It is bouncing high enough to get the lowest corridor of the maze, and I did not notice that. I completely wrote it off thinking, okay, he's done. And I'm just kind of walking along, and pow, it bounced up enough into the maze to nail me. So at least the lowest corridor of the maze, you got to keep an eye out because it might still get you. But yeah, I think it's a fun game. I definitely played it. It's many rounds for talking about on the show here. Again, maybe it's nostalgic for me playing it back in the 80s, but I still enjoy this one a lot.
How about you, Michael?
So as I mentioned, I never really played this one back then. So my first experience was really the last few weeks. And first time playing it, I was very frustrated because when I was moving, I'd go into a house and I couldn't move out of the house. Ooh. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm pushing the buttons, and I'm using the 5200 controller. So I read the manual. I'm going through everything. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I'm like, okay, maybe it's my controller. So I tried Berserk, and controller's working fine. So I try Blueprint again. And again, I cannot move right. So I don't know if I have a bad ROM, but I ended up putting in the master play clone, and that worked fine. So it was strange. So I don't know if I have a bad ROM or what. But after that, it's a fun game. It was very frustrating. It took me a while to really get used to the game. The flower pots just that was very frustrating. And just remembering which houses you went into, because again, I tried to attack it with a pattern, but as soon as I get the bomb, I would destroy my pattern. I'd end up going to the right or going to other houses, or if my time was running out. And then once you got to level 3 with Fuzzy Wuzzy,
he's relentless, man.
Yeah, he loves to camp out right in front of the house. The last house you need to get into. It's where he'll stay.
And then I got to level 4.
He's slow too. That was the other thing that frustrates me about him. He just kind of meanders around. You're like, move out of the way.
Yeah, it does.
Especially if you have a bomb and he's standing there. But I thought it was a fun game. I definitely would play this one again.
That's awesome. Well, the problems I had with the 5200 version was trying to drop bombs and Sneaky Pete back into that bomb hole. I had a hard time getting lined up. To get him to drop in there for some reason. My coordination ain't like great anyway, so that's just par for the course. The highest level I got to was like level 3, where you have just the one exit in and out of the maze. And with Fuzzy Wuzzy running around there with that one exit, that becomes a very difficult maze to complete.
Yes, it does.
That's why I died. That's where I died most of the time, was on that maze. But other than that, just like the arcade version, I love this game, and it plays really well on the 5200. And I was looking at the manual, the one that was typed in onto AtariCade under the 5200 category. It was actually typed in by Rob Ferguson.
The
very last, that's very involved. I guess he spent a lot of time in the early days of AtariCade typing in manuals. Because I see his name a lot, typed in by Robert Ferguson on the bottom of these crazy things. But anyway, we love you, Ferg. Anyway, I love this last strategy hint. Number 3 on the list. It says, Blueprint is, most of all, a memory game. Younger players, as well as absent-minded ones, or drunk like me, might find it easier to play as a team. One member moves through the house, while the other member keeps track of where they've already been. There you go, Michael. Have your daughters join you.
Yeah.
Remember where the houses you've gone into.
I was tempted to get like little sticky notes and put them on the houses.
That's a good idea.
Because what is there, 10 houses?
Yeah, there's 10.
Yes,
there's
10 houses.
Only 8 of them got parts in them, so you're gonna find at least a couple bombs.
Well, what I try to do is I try to start from the left and go to the right. That was my strategy, for what it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things you could try to do.
As long as you're consistent, you've got to have some way you always go about doing it. I think that's for the best.
Oh, yeah. But with the music that's playing, and you see Ollie run across the top of the screen, it really distracts you from remembering what house you've been into.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the challenge of the game. It's really throwing everything at you.
Yeah, I think I found that the nervousness of the flower pots, or the or getting a bomb rather. I'd walk into a bomb and all of a sudden I'm like, crap, what house had the bomb? Because like something about getting the bomb and the sound effect or whatever like kind of make my mind go blank, and I'm like, crap, where was I?
Where was I?
Once you get
now we've got to that. Go ahead.
And once you get Fuzzy Wuzzy in level 3, it kind of deviates your plans a little bit, because if he's in the way, you're gonna go right. Let's say. And hit those houses first. So.
Yeah.
He's a pattern breaker for sure.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So now we're part of the show. We're going to talk about high scores. This time I think we'll let Rick go first.
Okay. So my best score was 52,950.
Ooh!
Wow!
I got to I killed 5 guys rather. I got to the 6th screen before I died. On that one.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
Do you have a relative named Rain Man?
No, I don't. Hey, I played this a lot as a kid. I remembered some strategy stuff,
What about you, Michael? What'd you get?
I had around 27,000, level 4.
27. Well, at least you got to level 4. I never saw level 4. I hate to ask this. Okay, Matt, what'd you get?
I just barely beat Rick. I got 53,700.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, man, Rick, you almost dethroned our savant.
Almost got it.
Well, I came in second from the bottom, 36,050 points.
Matt, what screen did you say you got to?
I don't know, actually. Okay. I didn't really pay attention. I know. I think I want to say 5 or 6, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, because they have a second. The intermission comes out after screen 2.
Oh, the intermissions! I forgot
right,
about that.
So he runs across, and then he's being chased by 2 guys, right? 2 ollies or whatever there, and then after screen 4, he gets chased by 4 ollies.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I never beat screen 6 to know if there was going to be 6 ollies coming after him.
I don't remember a third intermission, so I guess I didn't get past screen 6 either.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first intermission was definitely very Pac-Man like.
Yeah, the music was reminiscent of Pac-Man too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
They're both, Bally games, I guess. Or Pac-Man was distributed by Bally, wasn't it? I can't.
Bally Midway, right?
Bally Midway. Yep. So, as part of one of the 1,500 games, how would you guys rate this game from 1 to 10? 1 being 10 being, oh yeah. Rick.
I got to put this at 10. I love this game. I've always loved it back in the day. The 5200 experience was great. Had no issues with it, and this is the kind of game I really enjoy. Like, I actually like this kind of gameplay more than shooting and some of the other types of games that you find in the arcade games. So I'm putting this one at a 10 for me.
How about you, Michael?
I think I put it as an 8. I would definitely play it again. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's not a bad game at all. As I said, I just started playing this game, so I don't have no nostalgia for it, but it's a fun game.
And how about you, Matt?
I think I'd probably go about a 7 on it. I I don't have any nostalgia for the arcade game, certainly, but I did grow up playing the 2600 game, which is quite a bit different in a few key areas, and I honestly think it's a little bit better of a game. It may not have the look of the 5200 version, but it's just got a couple things that are just like better, like the shooting part of it, for instance. You actually set the power of it, and it doesn't do that wobbling off to the side nonsense. Like, it's actually an interesting part of the game, and the way it sets up the way it deposits the pieces in the houses. Like, you can watch it do that at the beginning of the board. So if you can remember, you actually don't have to waste any time going to the wrong houses. Like, it's more of a memory game because you get to see where they're going. You just have to remember which ones have the pieces, and you actually have to get them in order. You can't just get them in any old order. If you pick up the wrong piece, you've got to put it back and go get the right one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it has different colored bombs, too. Like, you don't see them because it's the 2600 and it's not going to render a bomb graphic, but it changes the color of a bar on the bottom of the screen or something to let you know which color bomb you have. So they did a good job on that. And that's what I grew up playing, so that's what I kept comparing it to, and I think I kind of pushed the score down a little bit for me. But it's still a good game. It's solid. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. It plays well. It controls well. It's unique. I had fun with it.
Yeah, it ranks really high with me as well. You know, it's a 10 for me. Yeah. It's a must-have for my 5200 collection. Absolutely love the game in arcade, and the 5200 version is as close as you get without playing it on MAME.
It's
on a home console. It's really, really good.
Very good.
So overall, you know, with all our scores, it evens out to about a 9, which is not bad at all.
Nope.
Yeah. So let's talk about what game we're going to cover next. Any thoughts, Rick? You pick one.
I pick Blueprint. I'm off the hook.
Oh. Well, we're just taking suggestions right now. We're just doing suggestions.
How about Hero?
That's not an arcade game, man. It's AtariCade 5200.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But we will cover Hero, eventually. We run arcade games.
I'd have to see a list. I'm not as familiar with the library.
What I was thinking about is maybe stirring it up a little bit and cover a prototype, Junior Pac-Man.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking. Because it's a complete ROM. It has a bug in it where if you are eating a power pellet when you get hit by a ghosty, a little prize is running over, whatever, you can't eat that dot and you have to reset the game. But it's very rare to happen in this prototype ROM. So I was thinking about maybe doing that just to change it up a little bit.
Sounds good. I like Junior.
What do you guys think?
I'm a fan of Pac-Man games, so.
Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Pac-Man, you say? Awesome. So, in the next episode of AtariCade 5200, we'll cover Junior Pac-Man. And maybe, if I'm in a good mood, later on we'll cover Hero. Because that is a great game.
It is.
Yes.
We might have to do Hero after Junior Pac-Man just to be different. Because that is a good game. Anyway, thanks for listening and watching, everyone.
Hello?
Oh, there he is. Holy crap, what was that?
Who's that?
I don't know.
We'll blame Rick, he's not here.
Always a good choice.
Okay, Rick. I know you're there because I saw your icon glow.
He might be having audio issues.
It's glowing again. He's doing something.
Do you hear that?
There he is.
There he is.
That's kind of cool, man. When you talk, this little circle glows around your icon, man.
I'm pulsing with the force.
Skype is always improving your experience.
Use the Skype, Rick.
In this case, I was trying to swap out a cable. This cable's been giving me trouble sometimes. But apparently the cable I replaced it with is dead. So that was no good.
Well, that'll do it to you.
Yeah, so we'll work down our supply of cables another night.
Let's try this one. I'll just make Willie wait. He don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta screw that guy. All right. So everybody all ready? You got your notes and everything?
I got mine. I'm looking for the doc. I didn't. Is there a doc? No doc tonight?
Well, it's Matt's doc. The thing he posts.
Find him at the WordPress.com.
Yeah, that.
Gotcha.
That's the doc.
Okay. I didn't know if there was another.
No.
No, I don't usually write up show notes. I'm a little too lazy.
Yeah, well, that's why I make him write these summaries, because it's the same thing. I'm evil that way. I plot.
I'm looking for it.
He thinks he's writing an article, but in actuality, he's writing show notes for us. Yes, Willie has been drinking this evening.
Again.
I was sent some limoncello, and I'm enjoying it right now.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Oh, that'll mess you up.